Morning. It's a chilly one today again, -2 I believe. So I'm not going to be doing much over at the plot, obviously, just because it is too cold, the ground's too frozen. There's not a lot I can actually do because we haven't got a lot of the bits that we need to do anything structural. So coming over to do the chickens, make sure they've got plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of bedding, and then I'm going to go home, and this week I'm going to do a little bit of a roundup of what I got up to last year, and all of the harvests that I've had, and the amounts and my wins and, I won't say losses, I don't like the word fails, they're lessons. So I'm going to do my wins and lessons that I've learnt. What stood up there for? I'm trying to... God, that light's making me look really orange. That sunrise. I'm trying to give the girls their water, but this is completely frozen. Completely frozen. I can't open it. God, blimey, what am I going to do? I mean, there's no water left in it because they've drunk it all. But the actual bits that slide open are like frozen shut. Oh, hold on. I might have a bit of movement. God, blimey, it's not meant to be this hard, guys. Why is it when you're in a rush? Trev's got a hospital appointment this morning, and I don't know how long we're going to be there. Why is it when you're in a rush that you just, something goes wrong? I really need to, this job should have been done like 5 minutes ago. Oh God. I'll come back to you with that one. Right, I just wanted to, oh God, I look terrible. Right, I just wanted to show you something. Our mains water pipes over here have been turned off because they don't obviously want the pipes to burst, where it is so cold. It's unusually cold for the south at the minute, and they do turn them off when it gets like this, but they weren't expecting to. They didn't have to last year. Anyway, I'm struggling to get our tap open now on the on our big water butt to get the girls some water out anyway, which isn't actually frozen. I've tapped on the side and I can hear some of it sloshing. But I did come over just to see if there was any water over here and see if the taps had been turned back on. But I just wanted to show you this because this is unusually thick ice for us. Look at that. That is not even moving. Normally you can come over here and do that and this will all just break off, but that's a good few inches thick. I've never seen it like that over here. That is nuts. Huh. Oh, okay, I've been defeated. I managed to get the tap open on this. However, although I've shaken it, there is some water in there that isn't frozen, but the water leading to the pipe for it to come out is frozen. So I'm not going to get that out. But obviously the girls need water. So what we're going to have to do is fill up a load of water bottles at home, of which we've got loads. And after we've been to the hospital for Trev, come back over with water bottles and fill it up that way, because they're going to have water today. They can't go without. And I haven't got any over here. I've normally got loads over here, or some in the car, but we haven't got any, just because we haven't been over here so much. So yeah, I'll take a few water bottles home with me just in case the recycling man's been. You know, and it's like a series of unfortunate events. I'm just thinking, I've put the recycling bin out this morning, so I probably haven't got any bottles, because I expect while I've been down here the recycling people have been. So I'll take some old bottles home from here so that I can fill them up with water to bring back over after the hospital to fill up their water, so that I can feed the girls. Well, they've been fed, give the girls their water. Right, I will at some point see you at home. Right, hello. So finally back home. So I thought I'd go through everything with you. So my wins and my lessons. Let's just crack on with this. So I had so many wins this year, and also quite a few lessons. So first of all, just jumping straight into it, potatoes. We did Picasso and Pentland Javelin potatoes this year. Wasn't overly impressed with either of them, so that's a lesson. Probably won't do either of them this coming growing year, so I've got to look at those. I think I'll probably do some Charlotte potatoes as my first earlies, and then I definitely want to do some King Edwards and Maris Piper. Really, they're my favourites, so I really want to do those this year. But the win was I had £80 of potatoes, so we're working our way through those. We are just now at the quite small ones, so they're all, you know, I sort of chop them up with skin on really, because yeah, it's just they're a bit too fiddly to be peeling too many of them. Just don't have the patience for that. So then we had our beetroot. Now our beetroot was amazing this year. I had so many people tell me over at our plot that their beetroot hadn't taken off, and for some reason mine just went nuts. I decided to, I had an old pack that had loads in there that I just knew was going to be out of date this year. So what I did was I just sprinkled them all in the ground, because everyone had said they'd had a really tough time of getting them started, and I was starting late, and I thought just see how they go. If they grow, great. And mine went absolutely nuts. Now I always swear by Boltardi. So Boltardi beetroot seems to always be a win for me, and we had £11 of that, and I did make, I think we had 6 of these jars. I think I've got 4 left now. I know that's not beetroot, I just didn't get one out of the fridge. Which brings us on to the mangel wurzel. Now the mangel wurzels, I just did, I did them really late. I didn't start them off when everyone else did. There was like a grow along thing on one of the other social media channels, and I sort of jumped on it really late, so I was about 3 months behind, I think. So I actually put them in, I think it was beginning of May, so it was really late. I wasn't really expecting much from them, but I did have 4 massive mangel wurzels, and we've made out of that, some of it I did chuck away. One of them produced, because I took him out really early, he produced some really pink mangel wurzel which looked very much like beetroot. This one is a jar of the mangel wurzel. Now if you don't know what mangel wurzel is, it's a cross between a sugar beet and a beetroot. But once you've pickled it, it literally just does taste like beetroot. So I'm not sure I'm going to do them again, because I have such a good success with the beetroot. However, I did use one of them in my Christmas chutney, which is like a pickle for Christmas, and I diced it all really small, and actually it was really good for filling. Really good for filling out jars and things, so that was great. So possibly might do them again. So that was a good win, and a bit of a lesson, because I'd never tasted them before and I wanted to know what they were like. So next on the list is chilies. Now obviously we all know I love my basket of fire. That is what makes up all of my chili jams pretty much. And they were a roaring success again this year. I've given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away in hampers, and I've still got 4 jars left up there, and this big one, which is the extra hot Scotch bonnet one, which was just too hot. We've been using that in curries and things every single week and in chilies, and it's just not going down because we literally need half a teaspoonful and it blows your socks off. But chilies, with the basket of fire, I had 4.5 pounds of chilies, and I had 6 pounds of peppers, which, you know, wasn't great. It didn't do very well with my bell peppers this year. Sorry, I had to change over to the other camera because the little one has run out of charge, so might look slightly different. Anyway, where was I? Oh, and you might be able to hear the dog snoring now, but you know, it is what it is. So onions were a great success this year. We had 35 onions, and that's all I'd planted. I think I did plant 40. I think I sowed 40 onions and we got 35. So I was really pleased with that. Lesson learned, not enough, not nowhere near enough. I'm now buying onions, really not happy about that. So yeah, so this year, planting with purpose, I'm going to be doing a good 110 onions. Apples, we had 35.5 pounds worth of apples in total this year. Absolutely thrilled with that. We actually got some of the Rosetta apples. We had 13 pounds of those. They don't last very long, so that's a lesson learned for them. They literally lasted about a week and then they were going mushy and not very nice. So I did sort of, when I saw that happening, peel a load of those and get a load chopped up and in the freezer. Some of our apples we went on eating. Some of them are chopped up ready for apple pies. A lot of apple pies I did already make. And also we used some in a lot of the chutneys and stuff for Christmas. Oh, hello. You're not supposed to be on the table, are you? That's twice now you've done that. I forget. Come on. So mint. I killed the mint, so I am going to have to go and get some new mint this year. I mean, who do you know that has managed to kill mint? So yeah, so I do like chocolate mint. I also want to try apple mints. Tomatoes, so many tomatoes. I think it was about 10 pounds of tomatoes. I did do various varieties. I don't like fresh tomatoes. I think I said this before, that's a Trev thing, but I do like using them for sauces. So and I use them in cooking. So if I got a big glut of tomatoes that I can't necessarily use before they're going to go a bit funny, I will quarter them, stick them all in the freezer bag, stick them in the freezer, and then get out what I need when I need them, and add them to chilies, curries, whatever it is that we're cooking, and you know, it just gives it a bit more flavour. So yeah, tomatoes did really well. I did them at home here in the trellised beds, and they took over, which brings me on to cucumbers and gherkins. Didn't have any cucumbers. I think I had one small cucumber and no gherkins, which was absolutely awful because I am now down to one of these jars of gherkins that I've got left. So I have to grow some this year because I absolutely love gherkins. I normally do some of them sliced in rounds so that they're good for like having it on fresh burgers and things like that. And some of them I spear as well so that I can have them in my salads and whatnot. And I'm sure that they didn't grow very well or didn't grow at all. Because they were with those tomatoes and the tomatoes just took over. If anyone's got any good gherkin varieties, because the ones that I grew the year before last that actually did do really well, they were gifted to me in just a little packet and she couldn't remember the variety, and I don't know what they were, and they worked the first year. This year obviously they didn't work because they were overcrowded. And yeah, so I've now got to buy a new gherkins seeds. But if anyone can let me know what gherkins you grow, that would be great. Thank you. Carrots again didn't grow. Our ones didn't anyway. Thankfully, we had some on Bob's plot that he had put in that are still going. They're still in the ground now, and I keep taking them out whenever I need them. There's not enough, and they're nowhere near big enough So carrots is something that I really want to learn this year to get to grips with, as well as parsnips. Parsnips and carrots, never really had a very good time with those. Dill did really, really well. I did some dill this year and some basil, both from seed, absolutely fantastic. Used all the dill in my pickling. I use it in the beetroot and various other things that I'm pickling. I'll always put a couple of sprigs of dill in the bottom of them. That was really, really good. They ended up self-seeding. So I can imagine, I don't think I'm going to bother sowing any this year, because I've got a feeling there's going to be loads coming up in that bed where the tomatoes were, because that's where I put all of that as well. And with the basil, yeah, I cut it all down eventually and blitzed it all up, and it's all in the freezer in ice cubes, ready to go for whenever I need that, so in pastas and whatnot. The grapevine's doing well. I think I did show that the other day in one of my other videos, and I've still got to sort of pull the bit off that's growing across and train it up. So that's just, we put it in a couple of years ago. I'm really pleased with how it's growing. We got a couple of tiny little bunches of grapes. I'm talking like palm of your hand sort of bunches. You couldn't eat them, they were really sour, but I know that they're growing, so that's good. Blueberries, didn't have anything off of the blueberries, but it was the first year that they were in for us. Raspberries, we had 7 pounds of raspberries this year. Not a great year for raspberries at all, but it was enough to make 1 pot of jam, and I think I've made a couple of crumbles with them, so that's good. Blackberries, I got 12 pounds of blackberries. Again, I've made a nice big pot of blackberry jam, which one of these, and I've saved some in the freezer for crumbles so that I can have them with the apple and blackberry crumbles, so that was good. Again, they weren't great this year. I think it was just too dry for them during the very early growing season. But now we've got the plot that's nearer to our first plot, and we've done a lot of sort of moving about and things. I'm hoping to try and, just because I can see them more, I'll be more on the ball with them and keeping them watered as well as everything else. Sweet corn, that was a big no, wasn't it? That was devastating. I'd done so well with that, and it was so good. It looked so lovely, and I went over on a Thursday evening and thought to myself, they look like they need picking, but I'll wait until Sunday. I'll just give them till Sunday. And went back over Sunday, and rats, squirrels, whatever it was, had the lot. They were all completely gone. I've got a whole video on that right back at the beginning. I think it might have been actually my very first YouTube video that I did, and I was devastated. I just really want to do some corn. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can do that this year, keep them protected. I'm going to put bottles on them. That was what someone said to me, to put bottles, like used bottles over them, and or socks or something, and it stops them from getting into them. So I'm going to try again. I will try again this year. So cabbages, we planted spring cabbages and January King, none of which have done anything. So I'm just not great with cabbages. Pumpkins, we planted them on that second plot, our original second plot, that the ground was not very good in, and they didn't do very well at all. I got a handful of squash this year. So again, I did go through it in my seed haul. I've got loads of squash that I want to do this year. We've got a better plot, a better ground. It's all been fed. In fact, I've got to feed it again, ready for the corn, beans and squash to go in, which brings me on to beans. I did for the first year some what were they called, Belotti beans, and I did get where are we, I got these, so I got 2 of these things of Belotti beans, jars of Belotti beans, so I will use some of them to go back in the ground. On the new second plot, there was also some of these white beans. I don't know what ones they are. They look like a Belotti, but a white version, like a whitey pinky version. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so I'm gonna put some of them back in. We also had some black beans, so I'm gonna pop some of them in as well and just see how we go with the beans and start using them a little bit more in soups and stews and things like that. Plums, well, plum tree, again, it hasn't fruited at all, so we ended up chopping it all right down. We're going to probably give it one more go. I'm not 100% sure anything's going to happen with it, and if it's not, then we're just going to take it out of the ground. Don't like removing trees if we don't have to, but I feel like it might be using loads of nutrients that other things like the apple tree and one of our beds could be using. So that's probably going to have to come out, but we'll see. We'll give it another year, see what happens with that. Rhubarb, £19 of rhubarb. It was a fantastic year for rhubarb for us. We never have a problem. We never have to force it. It's always very early. And yeah, absolutely love it. I did make 4 bottles of rhubarb wine. Haven't actually had any of it yet. It's got a lot of sediment in it, even though we did try to filter it and all sorts. I'm not gonna lie, probably probably not very nice. I might try some at the end. I might try some. We'll see. So anyway, yeah, so used a lot of our rhubarb in that. It was a bit of a pain in the bum to do, to be fair, but I won't be doing it again. So that was a lesson learned. I'll just use the rhubarb for things that I know that I can use it for. Kale, yes, I did kale this year. We did Cavolo Nero. It was absolutely delicious. I took it out really early thinking that it would not do anything else, and then I've realised, having watched other people, that you can leave it in. Like, I mean, our plot neighbours, theirs is all still growing now. It's about that tall and they're still picking off of it. So yeah, I'm going to do some of that again and leave it in the ground because I absolutely loved that. So yeah, that'll be another one. So that was a nice lesson learned. Chard was really good for us. We've done loads of chard plants again, and don't necessarily eat a lot of it ourselves. However, we do give it to the girls. The hens love it. The chickens absolutely love it. So that we give them, you know, every other day really. We go down there, pick off a few things of chard and chuck that in for them. They love it. Sweet potatoes, first time ever doing those. I thought I'd bought Covington, I think it was called. It definitely wasn't Covington because they were red in the end. A red sweet potato. They are delicious, very, very small, but I did get £3 of those. So the nice thing was knowing that I can grow them. So I will probably try and do some sweet potatoes, Covington sweet potatoes again. Cherries, we had £5 of Morello cherries, which were absolutely gorgeous. They aren't a cherry that you can pick and eat straight off of the tree, though. They are a cooking or baking cherry. Did make a big thing of cherry jam, learnt from that to make sure all of the seeds are out. I've got my seed, my cherry pitter that I showed you all back earlier in the year. It works a treat. It is so, so good, but you need to make sure that the pits are actually out. So I did have a couple of them in my jam, but I think I'm going to sieve my jam again this year. Again, lots of little lessons learned, but it was so good. Oh, it was such a good jam. You need a lot of jam sugar, though, if you're going to make cherry jam, because it's not got any natural pectin in it at all. So that's the bit that makes your jam jammy. So it was more like a cherry preserve, because I didn't use enough jam sugar. So I'll be doing that again this year. And then really the last thing then was our elephant garlic, of course. Our elephant garlic. We had 10 bulbs of this. I was so pleased with it because I'd never grown garlic quite this size before. We've still got probably 4 of these left. So they'll keep us going for a little while. I've used one of them to put back in the ground, so I got another 6 or 7 growing at the moment from the ones that I'd grown myself, so I was so chuffed with that. But a lesson learned again. They're very, very oniony because they're more linked to the leek family. So although they are garlicky, they're also very oniony, which is good in some dishes. It's something that you want. But if you want real garlicky taste is probably not the thing for you. So this year I have got my Solent White and my Russian Giant in as well next to it. Whole big bed of garlic. Cannot wait for that. Can you imagine the smell? Oh, it's going to be so good. So yeah, so that was that. And then going back to chilies and things, I've managed to make some Scotch bonnet chili salt. I managed to make these, all of the cayennes that I got, I managed to make a nice, well, it's not a massive jar, but it's enough because it's really strong. It's a nice cayenne powder. So yeah, I've got some of that. And I put some in to make a steak seasoning. And what else did we get from that? Yeah, and we've just got some basic chili salt, which was really, really lovely. I made, instead of, because I didn't have any jalapenos, I used the cayennes and something else to make my cowboy candy, and it went down a treat. That was full. That's all I've got left. Everyone has it on lots of different things: cheese sandwiches, burgers, meat dishes. That they've just been sticking some on, so it's that's going down a treat. Also had loads of rosemary this year. So I've managed to dry so much of that. Probably won't need to do that again next year, so I can leave the rosemary bush alone. And I've made loads and loads of raspberry rosemary and garlic salt. That is fantastic in so many different dishes. So yeah, so really this year has been a massive win. Or last year, should I say, 2025 growing season was a massive win. So I'm really, really pleased with all of that. What I'm going to do is I am going to, obviously I've sown some of my onions on Boxing Day, like I said. I'm going to start my next lot of sowings next week, and it's going to be the chilies and things that I'm going to start off with. So what I'm going to do next week, I'll show you starting off with those. I'll show you my brand new growing tent that I've got for indoors that I can use. So I'm really chuffed with that because I haven't ever had that before. They've normally been all over my kitchen sides and everything until they're ready to go out. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that little growing tent because it's it means that I've got something to start everything off in. And yeah, so I'll get that done next week and let the sowing season begin. As always, thank you to all of our new subscribers. Again, we've had another little flurry of subscribers, so it's really lovely to have you here. Please do recommend us to your friends and family. And if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please do. It is free. It doesn't cost you a penny. And it really helps our little channel out. Right, I suppose I've got to have some of this now, haven't I? I'm a little bit nervous. Looks lovely and it's very pink. Quite a nice colour. It smells nice actually. It's actually really nice. A little bit vinegary, but I've tasted worse. Yeah, it's all right, and you really can taste the rhubarb, but it's not too bad. I'm pleased with that. Cheers.